Additional details have been released about Matthew Perry's final days and hours, and they make his passing all the more heartbreaking. Who was the woman Perry met only a day before the tragedy? How did the Friends creators describe their last conversation with the actor?
Utter shock.
And what legacy did Matthew want to leave on after his death?
When I die, I don't want Friends to be the first thing that's mentioned.
After struggling with addiction for over 3 decades, Matthew seemed to finally be in a good place. In many ways, it was like he'd started his life anew. He'd even found some new hobbies. For example, pickleball became an outlet in his recovery journey, according to Perry's friend and former coach.
And he brought people to the court that had struggles, similar struggles to his own.
He'd play the sport every day for about 2 hours. But on October 28th, he reportedly did it for only an hour, and then left the court because he felt tired. Matthew went home to relax in his hot tub, another favorite activity of his. In fact, his last Instagram photo, posted less than a week before his passing, shows the actor in this same tub. Perry then sent his personal assistant on an errand, and when she came back, she found the actor unresponsive in the tub. The assistant called 911, and before help arrived, she brought Matthew's head above the water and got him to the edge, but it was too late to help him. First responders concluded that the actor's body wasn't waterlogged, which means that Matthew hadn't been underwater for very long. So it's pretty much impossible that he fell asleep there. It's more likely that the heat of the tub could have become fatal, especially right after playing sports.
Someone who plays pickleball might be a little bit more fatigued than usual, a little more dehydrated, may then jump into a hot tub, which makes them further dehydrated. As a result, there can be some demand placed on the heart.
Authorities are also investigating if there were any drugs involved. None were found near the pool where Matthew drowned, but there were prescription drugs in the actor's home. All of them were properly labeled and stored in pill bottles. As of now, we don't know if Matthew took any of those before going into the tub. Initial toxicology reports show that there was no fentanyl or meth overdose in his system. Yet officials say that the full statement may not be available for weeks or even months. At the same time, those who knew Matthew all claimed that he was clean and sober. According to a fellow member of his recovery program, he was still attending meetings and working with newcomers. Only a day before his untimely passing, the actor was spotted with a mystery woman at the Hotel Bel-Air in California. Soon it was revealed that the lady in question was Matthew's friend, Athenna Crosby. They spoke about the actor's plans to make a biopic about his life.
He said that he wanted Zac Efron to play him and that he was going to ask him soon to do that.
This is an understandable choice, as Zac had already played a younger version of Matthew in 17 Again. Athenna added that Perry was pretty optimistic about his plans and was looking toward the future excitedly. She was one of the last people to see him alive. And like everyone else, Crosby can't believe that he's gone.
He was so happy and so bright and so enthusiastic and cracking jokes and being funny and just being the guy that he was.
She's not the only one who has said that about the actor's final days. Friends creators Martha Kaufman and David Crane spoke to Hoda Kotb, and Kaufman said that she talked to Matthew 2 weeks before he passed.
He didn't seem weighed down by anything. He was in a really good place, which is why this seems so unfair.
She was utterly shocked upon hearing the news.
You know, my first impulse was to text him, honestly.
During the interview, both Kaufman and Crane were emotional.
He was such a sort of alive person that it's hard to believe he's not here.
Many Friends fans were waiting for the main cast to say something about what happened. And 2 days after the actor passed, they issued a joint statement. "We were more than just castmates. We are a family. There is so much to say, but right now we're going to take a moment to grieve and process this unfathomable loss," it said. If you think about it, it's easy to understand the delay in sharing their reaction. The news clearly hit them really hard, and they needed time to digest what happened. Reportedly, Jennifer Aniston was particularly shaken by the tragic event, but they're yet to say anything more. It also took Salma Hayek 2 days to process the news before she could post anything about Matthew. She co-starred with him in Fool's Rush In, which Perry called his best movie. The actress was honored by that. "You are gone much too soon, but I will continue to cherish your silliness, your perseverance, and your lovely heart," Salma wrote in her tribute. Gwyneth Paltrow, who briefly dated Matthew in the 90s even before Friends began, recalled the summer they spent together. She called this time magical and added, "I hope Matthew is at peace at long last. I really do." Actor Hank Azaria shared a special connection with Perry because he suffered from similar issues.
The night I went into AA, Matthew brought me in. He was so caring and giving and wise, and he totally helped me get sober.
Azaria also recalled how Matthew lived to laugh and make others laugh. Obviously, his ex-fiancée couldn't remain silent. Molly Hurwitz, who was engaged to him for a year in 2020, shared how profound their romance was. "I loved him deeper than I could comprehend," she confessed, adding that he was a complicated man. And she also said that Matthew would love that the world is talking about how talented he was. Molly ended her tribute saying that she's relieved that he's finally at peace. Perry's former personal assistant, Brianna Brancato, also shared a touching tribute. "My heart is heavy, but celebrating my memories is the most profound way to honor his legacy," she wrote in a post. It's still unclear if she was the one who found Matthew in the hot tub and called 911. Yet the actor repeatedly mentioned Brianna in his memoir, praising her for saving his life when he was in rehab. So it's clear she was a close friend. And even the People editor-in-chief Wendy Naugle shared how Perry felt in his final days.
But he had also been doing so well. He was playing pickleball daily. He was writing a little script. That's where the Mat Man reference comes from in his Instagram. And he had signed on to a new drama film, so he was doing very well.
While the world still struggles to process his death, Matthew's family has begun funeral arrangements. Little is known about it for now, but we can be sure that many people will attend, from Perry's co-stars and friends to those he saved from addiction. Matthew helped so many people in his life, but especially after he released his memoir. Only 2 days following the actor's death, his autobiography became the #1 bestseller on Amazon. Although it was released a year ago, it has now overtaken Britney Spears' new book. And it's not surprising, because millions of Perry's fans want to take a glimpse into his personal life and 30-year-long struggle. And the actor would be happy about that. After all, that was his goal in the final years of his life, to be there for those who needed him.
If somebody comes up to me and says, "I can't stop drinking, can you help me?" I can say yes and follow up and do it.
And it was his dream to make it his main legacy.
When I die, I don't want Friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned. And I'm going to live the rest of my life proving that.
And he kept his promise. In fact, Matthew had even bigger plans to expand his legacy. Not long before his passing, he expressed interest in sharing his story through public speaking events. Perry even wanted to visit universities to talk about alcoholism. After all, he was so good at sharing his experience and motivating others. Those close to the actor say that he was the definition of hope because he never gave up. And Matthew helped countless people in his program, more than he could even imagine. He even created what he called the Perry House in Malibu. It was a sober living facility for men. So let's help realize Perry's dream when we recall his legacy. We shouldn't only remember him as Chandler Bing, aka the funniest man on earth. We need to also keep in mind how many lives he changed and saved by being sincere and vulnerable. The world wouldn't be the same without Matthew, and it will never be the same with him gone.